In Britain today, there's a unique group of young people who've had HIV all their lives. They were born in the 90s, when mother-to-child transmission couldn't be prevented, but HIV-positive babies could survive. No other generation will ever live with HIV in the same way. I'm on a journey to meet them.
I've got to take this because if I don't, then I'm gonna die.
People fall into depression and levels of trauma.
They want to hide their identities.
People hear the name. Like, I don't want to know, it's disgusting.
They say the greatest threat to their future is not HIV, but stigma.
You're living such a double life, it's ridiculous.
I think stigma is the biggest killer.
I've come to meet two young women in West London.
When my mum gave birth to me, she didn't know that she was HIV positive. But since that time, obviously, she found out about her diagnosis. So up until I was 16, I didn't talk about HIV in the home. My dad was very aware of stigma of HIV, that I think he felt partly that if you don't discuss it in the home, it's sort of like, it's almost as if it doesn't exist.
It kind of played a bigger role in my life when I kind of entering into an age where like relationships and friendship groups and wanted to tell my friends something because it was a secret, but it was kind of one of them things, it's a different type of secret.
Children born with HIV tend to be told their status once they're considered old enough to be discreet about it.
I was told not to tell anyone, and not because it was anything that anyone had done wrong, that my mum had done wrong, that I had done wrong, that I wasn't sick, I wasn't unwell, my mum was healthy, but it was all based on how it might be perceived by other people.
You know there are a lot of rumors out there right now, and you would like to address them head on, so I'll give it to you. Go ahead.
I have to, yeah. I'm here to admit that I am, in fact, HIV positive.
When Charlie Sheen was recently forced to reveal his status, these young people saw how the world responded.
I saw a lot of that he deserved it because of his risky behaviour, that he is probably now going to die because he's got HIV, and that his partners were now all going to file lawsuits.
It made her even less ready to reveal her own status.
Not a Hollywood star, but this is potentially the reaction that you will get from some people.
Across London, the charity Body and Soul provides a safe space for young people to talk openly about HIV.
You know, there is a lot of silence out there in the world. It seems to have gone very quiet. The subconscious message is, well, okay, we can share this, but we don't talk about it to anyone else. And I think all of that is really hard to hold as a young person because it is ultimately saying this is a shameful thing.
Many have to deal with their parents' guilt as well as their own diagnosis.
I became ill so young, at the age of 2, and I only found out when I was in my early teens. I was just living life without, care. My mum didn't quite accept it. I don't know her story, so I'm not like, oh my gosh, I was never angry ever and I will never be angry. It was just that whole mentality at the time that she had, like, she's not ill, my daughter's not ill, throwing my medicines down the toilet and stuff like that because she couldn't come to terms with it. I just said to her one day that, I've got to take this because if I don't, then I'm gonna die. Do you want me to die?
How's it affected your family dynamic if there's 6 of you, 6 siblings, and 3 of you are HIV positive and 3 of you aren't?
They've been amazing, even to this day. Like, I've never felt that whole, my sister's this, so now I'm not gonna eat from that plate, or, I'm not gonna drink from this cup. They've never treated me different.
Do you really feel that in the wider world, that you have to hide what you've got?
They can accept the fact you've got it from a distance, but to be with you is a different story. And that's just the way it is. You don't hear, this person has got it, this person can have children, this person can run, this person can just live life. It's mainly, once you get it, it's death.
Anyone can get it, man or woman.
The frightening public information campaigns of 30 years ago still influence how people living with HIV are seen today.
So don't ask for AIDS, don't get it.
If you have HIV now, the drugs can mean that you can live a completely normal life, but What hasn't changed is the stigma.
You can talk about how medication has improved and people are living fully normal lives, but if I went outside right now and said I'm fully positive to like, if I shouted it on a bus, I'm pretty sure I would get a seat on that bus, easy.
I like still being alive, so me going on camera, it's just not beneficial because from where I grew up, the stigma is so bad that if I put myself now where people can see me, there's a lot that could come my way.
She was in denial in her teenage years and stopped taking her medicine, restarting only after she was hospitalised with pneumonia.
I think stigma is the biggest killer. People fall into elements of depression and levels of trauma. They feel no one can relate to them and they feel lonely.
Lying to your closest friends over something that shouldn't even be a big deal, that's going to make anyone feel like, wow, I feel so isolated right now.
These young people were born into stigma and have lived with it all their lives. But as they begin to speak out, they're breaking the taboos around HIV. Do you think there'll ever come a time when teenagers with HIV would feel comfortable talking about it? Or maybe there won't be teenagers with HIV?
Like, it won't have to be a big thing of like, I'm going to disclose to someone about my HIV. It'll be like, they know because it came up in a conversation, like, oh, do you know what, I actually know a bit about that because I've also got HIV. It's like, oh, okay, cool, move on. Like, I hope, that's my hope. Day to day in terms of like my identity, like I know it's there, I know it's a part of me, but I don't think about it all the time.
There's so much medication available to us, and that allows us to have the life that anybody else without it can have. The fact that we can have children and our children won't have it. It will probably be one of those things that you read up on and you will know about, maybe in schools, maybe in books. You will know that one day that this existed and it was actually a unique group of people. Everything starts with a movement. Maybe one day get to that stage where we can show our faces. And that's the only way that people are going to listen.
Definitely on the other side of the spectrum of anorexia. You look in the mirror and you think, oh my God, I'm looking really small today.